All right, we are live. Welcome back to the weekly, where we cover the biggest news in the crypto, Bitcoin and crypto world. It's been a week or two since we've done this show. We took a week off, our first
Happy
week
New
off
Year.
in a while. David, Happy New Year. So which is to say that we've got a couple of weeks worth of news here to cover. Starting off, the price of Bitcoin has seen a bit of a resurgence here. We're currently trading at 93K. Nice little change, two and a half, about 2% up in 24 hours. So that's a nice start to the year.
Yeah, we're
Um,
approaching, I think we're approaching kind of resistance here, this 93 to 94 area. So it'll be interesting to see if this kind of pushes through or it also gets kind of rejected here, right? This is
yeah,
around
if
this level.
if we get another BART down as well,
Mm.
which we had in early December, multiple rises and followed by immediate falls, the classic BART pattern. Um, All right, let's get into the news of the week. So, starting off, Nicolas Maduro, as everyone knows, was removed from power, the president of Venezuela, on January 3rd. This was, of course, the U.S. military operation. They captured him, flew him out of the country, and they're going to be charging him with like narco terrorism, drug trafficking type charges in the U.S. The crypto angle here relates to Polymarket. Now, this is very interesting, David. So, the there was a Polymarket. There are several Polymarkets relating to Venezuela, but the flagship contract was a bet that Maduro would be out by January 31st, 2026, and that flipped. It was rough. It was running at about 5 to 7 cents, and then immediately flipped to $1 overnight. So the market resolved as yes. And a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, a few people who obviously had inside information about this managed to profit immensely. I think there was one wallet that basically hadn't done any trades on Polymarket ever and put like a $30,000 bet on this just hours before it resolved, and they made like 400 grand. So, is it insider trading?
Yeah,
Is
it
this how
is.
Polymarket how it's supposed to work?
Yeah. This is exactly how Polymarket's supposed to work. This is exactly how prediction markets are supposed to work. We've talked about this actually earlier in the year, which is you have kind of the uninformed people making bets, and they really don't provide any, I guess, individually any signal. And then you have insiders who are actually closer to um, what's it called, having an effect on the outcome, and that insider information is important. Is a very important signal. And so in this case, people who are like bemoaning the fact that there's insider information, people who are close to the administration or whatnot or what have you, that knew that this is going to happen beforehand, placing a bet. That's good. That shows the entire market, right? If you're using a prediction market as a way to predict outcomes, that gives you valuable information before something happens. And so um, that's how it's supposed to work. Just one anecdote or like a funny kind of analog to this. I don't know if you remember earlier this year, the WNBA games where people in the crowd were throwing phallic objects onto the court. Do you remember that, Graham?
Who could forget?
Yeah. So what this started having a feedback loop where people, insiders, i.e., people who were actually going to go to the game, they would put bets on the fact that this would happen, and then they would go do it. But again, that's kind of how a prediction market should work because they they have insider information in that they're going to actually do it, and so the people who are just watching the market, they're able to gain actual information on what's like more likely to happen.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's endlessly interesting. Are there like national security concerns here? Because you could argue that an insider who knew about this made this bet. Someone, an astute observer, could come on, see that bet, and be like, "Uh oh, this event is about to happen, and I'm going to like take extra precautions right now to make it not happen." So like I could see this type of thing causing people a lot of trouble. Like you could be, if you were the one, if it was found out that you made this bet and that you had the insider information, like you could be in some serious trouble.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. Right, like the but that's also just kind of part of the game, I guess, or part of market dynamics. The government or these kinds of bodies, they obviously don't want to telegraph uh, that they were about to do this, or in future cases that they're going to do this, and so they're well within their rights to then track down this wallet and throw them in jail, and that's also kind of, I think, the risk you take for this. So um, that's fine.
Yep. All right, let's move on to some 2026 outlooks because several of the big analysts in the space have issued out their outlooks for 2026, what the crypto markets, what they expect the crypto markets to do. Let's run through some of these and yeah, just see what people are saying.
Yeah, so there are tons, as you said, Graham, more than we could cover. In my last newsletter, which was 2 weeks ago, I think I put out about, I think I listed about, I don't know, seven or eight. Here's some other ones that have come out since then in the past, I don't know, 10 days or so, starting with Binance. So the co CEOs of Binance, Richard Tang and Yi He, they forecast a transition from uncertain to certain expansion for digital assets. Basically, they think because of the monetary easing that's likely to happen, the continuation of regularity, clarity, and increased institutional sovereign interest in Bitcoin, that we're going to see kind of further expansion of digital assets in 2026. Um, they don't think that this is the traditional cyclical bull market. I read that to mean the 4 year cycle is dead. So I think that they're kind of indicating that they don't think we're going to be in like a bear market for 2026. And all this seems pretty milk toast. I would say the boldest thing that they say is they expect on-chain assets to scale from billions to trillions in liquidity, as everything gets on chain. That's Binance. Again, nothing terribly bold there. Moving on to Galaxy. So Galaxy's research 2026 outlook. They kind of they start with a framework of like talking about Bitcoin as a um, as transitioning to a true mature monetary hedge. They think that it's going to increasingly track gold's adoption curve as institutions kind of access it more and more. This should make a lot of people happy in 2026 because so many Bitcoiners have looked at gold's price appreciation with envy over 2025. Will there be catch up in 2026? Possibly. So from a
So
price,
Galaxy is basically saying that Bitcoin, they expect Bitcoin to catch up with gold to some extent.
I mean, I think that's what they're hinting at. I don't think they use direct language, right? But that's what I would say that they're saying. Having said that, they do explicitly talk about price action, and they say that 2026 could be relatively boring or range bound. Now, again, these price targets are hilarious. They say it could oscillate between 70,000 and 150,000. It's quite a wide quite a wide range, but their long term price target is by the end of 2027. So not this year, but the end of next year. They say 250,000 for Bitcoin. Right?
Okay, so 2026 potentially an accumulation year if you trust Galaxy's
Yeah.
forecast.
Finally, when they're talking about non-Bitcoin stuff, they think that you'll have like kind of real activation. Stablecoins will overtake ACH transaction volume. Tokenized securities will break into like mainstream capital markets, and corporate L1 blockchains will be used to have like live financial settlement. So hard to probably, if you're like a crypto native punter like us, to kind of capitalize on that. I guess you'd have to find some way to express that trade. Coinbase Ventures. All right, Coinbase Ventures 2026 outlook is, again, it's all on a kind of a similar vein. They're focused on like specialized infrastructure, capital efficiency, um, the evolution of real world assets. So they think that DeFi is going to have a good year in 2026. Lots of maturation there. Um, Most interesting to me is they think there's going to be the rise of unsecured credit based lending. This is kind of like I would say like the last piece that DeFi has yet um, to really nail, at least in like any kind of volume. Right? There's a lot of everything is collateralized, over collateralized. There isn't really any kind of unsecured credit based lending yet. So that'll be pretty cool. They also see like yield bearing assets, non treasury, non sovereign bond based yield bearing assets to kind of um, come into their own, like via RWAs. Um, and again, they think that blockchain and emerging technologies, uh, infrastructure, things like that, decentralized robotics, proof of human systems, um, things of that nature are going to have a good year. So like heavily on the infrastructure kind of thing. Um, Again, less more difficult for crypto natives to kind of like, oh, here's a token, I'm going to buy that token and see return. So I think you should be noticing a trend here in terms of what these all these folks are um, looking forward to. Next, Pantera. Pantera Capital's 2026 outlook frames this as a critical de-risking year, right? So 2025 is a de-risking year. So, um, right, Gary Gensler resigned. The recension, I guess, of the SAB 121. At the end of the year, you had like holdouts like Vanguard opening access to crypto ETFs. You had all this great stuff happening, and the good news outpaced the price performance. So in 2026, Pantera anticipates a breakout year driven by, now this is interesting, Bitcoin Fi. So they think finally Bitcoin native DeFi is going to have a good year. I haven't heard anyone talk about this, frankly, all in 2025. So this is, I think, a fairly bold prediction. I like it. Um, they also think that fintech platforms will become the dominant crypto gateways. Um, Again, a bold prediction. And finally, the maturation of ZKTLS, trustless off-chain data, will have a big year. So and then go ahead.
Yeah, just yeah, narrowing like a double clicking on the fintech platforms as the primary crypto gateways. So that's referring to places like Robinhood being the preferred way that people get into crypto as opposed to sort of crypto native platforms like Coinbase is their
Yes, I
prediction.
mean that's the way I take it. Although I think Coinbase, right at the end of the year, Coinbase is kind of trying to push into this area of the super app, the everything app,
Yep.
and so um, I think Coinbase is trying to enter that race. Other exchanges like Kraken, um, and like frankly even Binance, I think are going to have a much tougher time. But yeah, I imagine have things like Robinhood, the Coinbase app, or whatever they call it, the base app. I don't know, whatever it is. Um, Even X apparently, there's a lot of rumors that they're also really going to push into this in 2026. But then you have things like, I think, Charles Schwab, right? They're going to be offering um, native spot crypto trading in their app in 2026. So yeah, you'll see a massive move this way.
All right. Rounding things out here, we have a prediction from Julian Timmer, who is the macro analyst, the director of global macro at Fidelity Investments. And he's saying that he thinks there's a chance Bitcoin 2026 will be a gap year for Bitcoin, even with the current tailwinds like that you've described in the above predictions. Basically, he's saying it's more likely that other commodities or like traditional commodities, like such as precious metals, are going to be the real diversifier against stocks and bonds. And this is going to be a continuation for them while Bitcoin will lag. So the quote is Bitcoin winters have lasted about a year. So my sense is that 2026 could be a year off or off year for Bitcoin. And he's saying support is between 65 and 75K.
The thing I don't understand about this, Graham, is didn't Bitcoin already have an off year, right? 2025, it was down roughly 6%. So is that not already an off year? It's going to have two off years, I guess.
Which would be unprecedented.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's already. I think we're already in like new territory, right? Like to have Bitcoin have a, a down year in 2025. So, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, moving on. So we've got some news out of the SEC, which is that Caroline Crenshaw is officially out. She was the last Democratic member of of the SEC, Democrat Party affiliated member of the SEC, and so her departure is being framed as basically the SEC now being just more in the control of pro crypto policymakers.
I Yeah, I mean, I we talked about this beforehand. I don't. Some people are, I guess, in crypto think this is kind of a good thing. I think this is like at the most generous you could say. It's like a marginally good thing because the SEC was already firmly in control of. It was already pro crypto, and so having this person leave doesn't really materially affect the direction of the SEC. However, from an optics angle, from a politics angle, it does worry me a little bit that you're really getting. I feel like crypto is becoming like hyper partisan now, right? There, it does appear that it's there's going to be like no U.S. Democrats who are going to be pro crypto. You know,
Yeah,
um,
and of course the danger is that when the power dynamics shift, the payback there'll be payback and reversal of lenient policies.
yeah,
And
exactly.
on that note, they're going to be using ammunition where whatever ammunition they have. For example, like the supposed grifting out of the Trump media. So on that note, we have a story from Trump media, which is that they're planning to airdrop a new digital token to DJT shareholders. Now, the token, they're being careful here to say that it's not like it doesn't have security properties. It's kind of a loyalty token, so it'll offer discounts within Trump Media's ecosystem, which includes Truth Social, Truth Plus, and Truth Predict. I didn't know that exists. I assume that's a prediction market. Um, and yeah, it's so anyone who holds DJT shares will get this token, and it'll have some value in their ecosystem. By the way, it's being built in partnership with Crypto.com and will run on Chronos, which is Crypto.com's blockchain.
Does anything else run on Chronos like at all? Is there anyway?
Crypto.com's ecosystem like loyalty points.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just. Is there any other product? Is there any other notable app, DApp that runs on this? That aside, yeah, it does strike the suspicious funny bone, doesn't it? WLFI, USD1, Trump, and the Melania token. Now we have some DJT token as well. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an interesting experiment, I guess. They're connecting shareholders equity with a token in some way. So it this type of experiment. I think we're going to see more of this. It's interesting that the Trump media just continues to make moves in the crypto space, and this is their latest move.
Yeah. The weird thing about this though is like I've been following the I mean everybody in crypto really has the Aave thing, right? The fight between Aave
Yeah,
Labs, or sorry, Avera, whatever it is, Avera Labs, and then the Aave DAO, and that's all about like kind of trying to disentangle equity and the token, or unify it in some way. And it almost seems like this is trying to do the opposite. This is like trying to introduce um, complications. So it's a bit of a head scratcher for me, but obviously we don't have any all of the details, and so we'll see what it is. But the thing is, like, if this just offers some limited amounts of utility, as in very limited, then it just doesn't seem worth it. But then if it actually confers some kind of benefit, like a dividend in all but name, then why do we have the equity, right? Like, so again, it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
yeah. All
All
right,
right,
moving on.
yeah. So let's talk about everyone's favorite crypto company, BlackRock. BlackRock ended 2025 with 700 and roughly 771,000 Bitcoin. Um, it wasn't exactly that, but as of December 31st, 2025, IBIT had 770,791.55 Bitcoin, um, making it the world's largest and most liquid Bitcoin exchange traded product. IBIT also was BlackRock's most profitable ETF, surpassing all of the firm's long-standing traditional products. Right? It achieved all this amount of Bitcoin and this kind of historic gains, all during the challenging price action of 2025. This is to say that Bitcoin is down on the year of 2025, and yet IBIT's amount of Bitcoin grew, and the amount of money BlackRock made off of it also was crazy. So, and also you had other things like gold do really well, stocks in positively. This suggests that institutional adoption is now being driven by kind of structural access and long-term diversification rather than short-term speculators, like crypto natives, or even like, I don't know, uh, retail people who are using IBIT for speculation. Larry Fink obviously views IBIT's performance as a success and as a precursor to, quote, tokenization of all assets, end quote. Um, BlackRock is a firm believer in digitizing securities, stocks, bonds, and real estate, and thinks that this kind of tokenization will become the kind of foundation of a new global finance. So there you have it. BlackRock's all in crypto.
All right. Okay, moving on to Coinbase. News from Coinbase, which they is that they have partnered with BC Card, which is one of South Korea's biggest payment processors, and it's a pilot of a USDC based payment system in Korea. So basically, how this works is, right, if you have USDC on Coinbase or Base, you'll be able to use it to, from your perspective, from the user's perspective, to pay for things in Korea. From the merchant's perspective, it'll get converted into Korean won, and the whole thing maintains compliance somehow. So yeah, this is just an interesting step in make in or evidence of the integration of stablecoins into like global financial payment rails. Currently a pilot, but yeah, the BC Card, one of the biggest payment networks in Korea. I think they have 35 million users, 36 million plus customers. So yeah, I think this is an interesting test of, or perhaps a sign of more to come in 2026.
Yeah,
The stable coins being used as the plumbing for everyday payments.
yeah. I mean, it fits with the above outlooks and all the predictions talking about how crypto is going to become kind of the infrastructure or the base layer of finance. So it fits with that. Um, Similarly, I would say, in a similar note, the next story is about Russia. They just logged a new institutional crypto milestone. So I don't know how to say this. Spur, is that right? Spur Bank.
Not sure.
Okay, SBER, SBER Bank has issued the country's first loan backed by cryptocurrency collateral. So Sberbank is Russia's largest bank, and this is a pilot program. They loaned they issued a loan to a crypto mining company. Um, the borrower was Intellian, a major industrial mining firm with 1,500 plus customers, 300 plus megawatts of power, and 35,000 mining devices. Um, the bank didn't disclose the amount or which crypto was used as collateral, but Graham, you and I both think that it's likely it was Bitcoin, most likely, and I bet you it was very much over collateralized. Anyway, why does this matter? This is kind of these real world examples of traditional institutions using crypto at an institutional level to enable basic financial actions like borrowing and lending. And so you and I have been doing this on Aave or what have you for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. And now we have kind of institutions, again, the biggest bank in Russia, kind of dipping their toes into the same kind of activity. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, further evidence of the institutional acceptance of Bitcoin and crypto around the world.
brave new world.
All right. And similarly, and for our last story of the week, we have a report. This is kind of a funny one or dark. Iran is now accepting crypto for weapons purchases. So, yeah, the Ministry of Defense Export Center of Iran, which is referred to as Mindex, accepting cryptocurrency for advanced weaponry, equipment, including drones and ballistic missiles. Supposedly, this is the first time that a country has announced that they are publicly accepting crypto for this kind of military equipment. Very interestingly, if you look at the website, it's like an Amazon of weapons, and yeah, you can see
Bizarre.
all the different types of bullets.
Yeah, there's other categories too. Like you can look at like they have marine vehicles, and you can say, "Oh, I want a boat with a missile launcher pad."
Yeah,
Um,
checking out the
so
rockets pages right now,
I
and
wonder, I
I'm
wonder
glad they
who.
have support as well.
Yeah, like I love the guy's face. It's awesome. That little guy, very
Yeah.
kind of reassuring face there. So you can probably get into that chat and ask questions like, uh, what what delivery options do you offer? Is it like DHS, FedEx? Um, you know, do I? What's the paperwork like? I live in Asia, and I wonder. Um, very, very interesting. I mean, again, though, there, and again, this is kind of funny, but it's also not so like because it raises interesting questions to me, honestly, Graham. Like, so let's say you were to do this. Let's say you go through this process, and it's not just like I don't know. It's not just kind of like it's not. It is actually real. does like the U.S. government then like blacklist that crypto that you use? Let's say you use Bitcoin. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
I think they
Exactly.
would just instantly be like, this Bitcoin is now
Yeah.
blacklisted, and like just
And this type of use case for Bitcoin and crypto has always, to me, seemed very risky. Like on the one hand, it's like, oh, adoption, but on the other hand, it's like the axis of evil doing the adoption, at least from the like perspective of Western governments or whatever. So,
yeah.
um,
But it's so
yeah.
transparent. I just think then that whatever coin you use is just then like never ever accepted again on
Well, maybe
any
they're using Zcash.
using Zcash. And that's the kind of publicity that Zcash wants. They want
All right. Let's wrap it up there, David. It's a nice recap of the stories over the last couple of weeks. We're going to be doing our predictions episode for 2026 on Token Narratives this Friday. Looking forward to that.
we're also going to be
Um,
looking back, right? We're going to look at our
yeah,
failures of
we're going to be
2025,
grading our
right?
predictions from 2025 and making some more predictions for 2026. Looking forward to that discussion, David. Yeah, we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.